This has been a long time coming. I'm sorry to have kept you on the dark for so long, for deleting all the posts I made and keeping quiet about this. I was not ready for the amount of backlash that came my way, and also wasn't in the right mindset to where I could properly explain myself, so I chose to only come back once I felt as though I could show you meaningful progress and know that I wouldn't make the same mistakes again. I hope you understand and that you will hear me out, because there's a few things I want to address. I will try to keep this as concise as possible, but I will link archives to the previous posts I made in the video description if you want more insight. Apologies in advance for repeating myself, but I thought it would make more sense to have one video where I go over everything in depth rather than 40 disconnected posts that someone with no knowledge of the situation would only be confused by. This is going to be as detailed a summary of events as I can give you without roping in people who I know don't want to be associated with any of this. I would appreciate it if you don't go after anyone and respect the privacy of everyone involved. Thank you. Back at the end of 2018, I met this person online who was unlike anyone I've ever met before. They spoke their mind like no one I knew in real life. They had amazing talents that I knew would get them far in life. They had a great sense of humor. The only problem was they were underage. Now for context, the age of consent where I live is 14. I brought this up before in a now deleted video, and I said before that this is something I disagree with, but it is true. And I think it impacted a lot of the choices I made along the way, as I tried to justify it in my own head many times, refusing to acknowledge that there may be something wrong with the relationship between a then 19 and this 15-year-old. Because at that point I had already fallen for this person and tried really hard to be with them. I would go days without going online to somehow get them to notice me. I would ask around their friends if they felt about me the same way, and it worked. We started dating. This was all online, by the way, and it was great. I couldn't have been happier, and because the environment I grew up in didn't make me think there was anything wrong with our relationship, I never really questioned it either. The only thing we did that I sincerely wish I could undo was that we'd share Rule 34 between each other. This was meant purely as a joke between us. I had no sexual intentions whatsoever, but it did happen, albeit that it started back when I didn't know their age yet. I didn't think anything of it at the time, but I understand now that it was completely inappropriate, and I will take full accountability for it. What I also take accountability for is that, although I tried very hard to be with this person because I did care for them a lot, I was also very new to relationships and didn't always treat them the best. I would criticize them more harshly than was warranted. I would throw words their way that I really wish I could take back, and also talk shit about them behind their back. I was not a good partner, and they rightfully cut ties with me after a while, which was when I started to develop feelings for another person who was 17 at the time. Now, whether you agree with an age difference like that or not, the fact of the matter is that I didn't tell anyone about either of these people and my feelings for them, because part of me knew that even those close to me wouldn't look too kindly upon it. What I want to stress though is that I did not fall for them because of, but despite their age, and because I was extremely lonely and desperate for anyone to be with me. I am not a child groomer, but I am a terrible person for the way I treated both of these people. I've tried multiple times to apologize to both of them, which only made matters worse because it started to veer off into stalking territory, which is equally horrible and a result of deep-rooted abandonment issues that I shouldn't have projected onto others like that. And I'm sorry. I think it's also worth addressing that I got overly personal with another underage friend of mine whom I gifted Animal Crossing New Horizons to. This wasn't done as any sort of advance toward them, but in hindsight still, it was a dynamic that was bound to end in disaster. Which it did, when I brought up my issues with the previous two individuals to them. We haven't talked since. If you're listening, I'm sorry for weirding you out. That was not my intention, and I hope you're well. I knew this person through a now deleted Discord server called Garfield's Clubhouse, on which I would talk to a few select friends I've gotten to know through another server where I would also share Rule 34 from time to time. Again, I wasn't aware this wasn't something I should be doing when I first sent Rule 34 to my ex, but by now I was so fed up with people calling me a child groomer that I almost sent this stuff out of spite, although the main purpose of this server was to have a little group of friends that I could talk to about my problems. When details about my relationship with the minor became public, however, the group felt betrayed because I never went in detail as to what exactly happened back at the beginning of 2019, so they rightfully felt manipulated and betrayed, which was not my intention. I would like to apologize for not being more honest with you, should anyone from that place be watching this video, and for roping you into something you probably didn't want to be. I'm sorry. The mistreatment of those close to me didn't end with the two minors, unfortunately, as I also became extremely petty about the success of others and would undeservedly talk shit about them behind their backs, such as the Alpha J Show and Trafon. I will link their twitlongers in the video description, as I think it makes more sense to read their side of the story than to have me try and explain mine, as I really don't want to diminish anything they've said. All I can say is that I'm sorry. I was a narcissistic piece of garbage that couldn't handle the amount of fame I had, and it's affected people I considered close friends as well, all because I was more concerned with my channel's growth than I was about the well-being of those around me. There's no excuse for it, especially the way I treated Trafon, to where I got others to bandwagon onto this hate train, all because I didn't like the way he handled his social media, without once considering how this must affect him mentally. I genuinely don't know how I could have let this go on for as long as it did, and one of the good things that came of this is that I'm not close with them anymore, because I clearly wasn't a good influence whatsoever. I truly hope the two of them are doing well, and I wish them nothing but the best. I really don't expect anyone to defend me in any of this. I am fully aware that none of this is okay, and I'm sorry it took me so long to realize I needed substantial help, which I've been getting for the past few months. I went from therapy once a week to a few weeks at a mental ward to therapy twice a week, and I've also been seeing a psychiatrist who's been putting me on medication for a personality disorder I have that I think explains a lot of my actions in the past, but it definitely doesn't excuse them. I am fully committed to bettering myself. I don't want to hurt anyone the same way I've hurt the people I mentioned in this video, and I want to use this platform as positive a space as I can, because I want to bring good into this world. And I think I've somehow lost my way over these last few years, and I hope you'll allow me to get back on track. I will return once I'm more mentally stable. I don't know when that will be yet. I still need more time to reflect on my actions, but I hope you will be there. Thank you for listening. Please stay safe.